Hello, hello! My name is Kim Yoonity, and I know more about cultures than a yogurt maker. Let's talk about this location, shall we? The name of the Ifugao people comes from a native word meaning eaters of rice. They say the staple of their diet was a gift from the gods, and the ancient Ifugao were the master architects of the rice terraces. For years, the Ifugao were protected by their rough, remote terrain. But today, their culture is threatened as the modern world moves in and more natives move out to cities like Manila. Nestled at the bottom of a beautifully sculpted circle of terraces, Batad Village is an authentic traditional Ifugao town. It does, however, contain a Catholic church, since Spanish missionaries introduced their religion to the Philippines 400 years ago. Almost 2,000 years ago, the Ifugao people of the Philippines carved rice paddies out of the rugged mountainsides and used an ingenious system of canals to hold water even during the dry season. The rice terraces are located in the mountains north of Manila, and some of them reach heights of 4,000 feet. So long!
가 지금 대한민국으로 출발합니다.
It just dawned on me that I can tell you a lot about Korea, the land of the morning calm. Korea has traditionally been called the land of the morning calm, but in modern times, South Korea has also been called the land of miracles. This Asian state has grown from a small, war-torn country to a powerful economic nation. In ancient times, a large fire burned in a main house, and underground tunnels carried this heat into the surrounding homes. Even in modern times, Koreans use heating systems to send warmth underneath the floors. Using short tables and movable futons, Koreans eat and sleep in these cozy rooms. In 1910, Korea became a Japanese colony. The country gained independence in 1945, only to be divided into the Communist North and the Democratic South. These countries have been hostile ever since. Walking through the Korean folk village is like walking into the past. It's a living museum where you can find blacksmiths, carpenters, and other craftsmen at work in traditional shops. Small, neat farmers' homes lie around the village, and folk dances are performed in a nearby amphitheater. So long! Thanks for calling. I have a soft spot for Singapore. When the Singapore Tourist Board was looking for a symbol that would describe their country's unique qualities, they created the merlion, a creature that is half lion and half fish. A statue of this strange creature guards the mouth of the Singapore River. The name Singapore means Lion City, and I'm not lying. Singapore used to be a tiny seaport on a jungle-covered island. But Singapore grew so quickly that today it is one of Asia's economic dragons. Chinese, Indians, Malays, and others have flocked to Singapore for decades, adding to its diverse culture. Built in 1939, the impressive Supreme Court building was the last classical structure to be completed in Singapore. Next door, City Hall was the scene of the Japanese surrender at the end of World War II. Luckily, neither building has surrendered to the skyscrapers that crowd around them. This vast green lawn in the heart of Singapore is appropriately named, since Padang is a Malay word for field. Sports clubs like the Singapore Cricket Club use the field for soccer, rugby, tennis, and of course cricket. The Padang is also a popular place to gather and gossip, which is why one end of the field earned the name Scandal Point. Most rivers have two banks, but on the edge of the Singapore River, there are over 150 banks. Need a loan? Here in the heart of Singapore's business district are skyscrapers containing the offices of oil, insurance, and financial companies, making Singapore one of the most important business centers in Asia. So long! Hi, let's take a stroll through the Shalimar Gardens, shall we? Here in Shalimar Gardens, we're just outside the city of Lahore. Lahore is Pakistan's cultural and intellectual center. It has been the capital of the Punjab district for nearly 1,000 years. The water that feeds the garden's many fountains is brought by canals from a river 100 miles away. In the central terrace, small nooks were filled with candles by night. This mixture of dazzling light and water gave the stone pavilions their name, Sawan Badun, which refers to the 2 months of the local calendar associated with rain and bright sun. Built in 1642 at the command of Emperor Shah Jahan, the Shalimar Gardens took less than 18 months to complete. The lower terrace was open to distinguished members of the public, while the middle terrace received honored guests. Only the closest friends of the royal family were allowed into the private upper terrace. This central terrace of the gardens contains over 100 magnificent fountains. At the foot of this cascade entering the terrace stands a marble throne where the emperor would sit in the moonlight and listen to his musicians play. The Shalimar Gardens exemplify the concept of a perfect garden, with straight shaded walkways and symmetrical ponds and fountains surrounded by flower beds. The upper terrace, which contained only flowers, was called Bestower of Pleasure. The middle terrace, where fruit trees were planted, was called Bestower of Plenty. I hope there's plenty for me. So long!
Vol 324. Part maintenant pour la République du Congo. Bon voyage.
Hi! Lend me your ear and I'll tell you about Zaire. The Mbuti people have lived in Zaire's Ituri rainforest for at least 10,000 years, and today they continue their traditional nomadic way of life. The Mbuti people, one of the groups known as pygmies, have an average height of under 5 feet. When the Mbuti arrive at a new site in the forest, the women take on the task of hut building. Weaving large leaves across a framework of sticks, the hut takes only a few hours to complete. I guess you can say they really deserve to be called homemakers. Here we see one of the tributaries of the Zaire River. The Zaire River, once known as the Congo, sweeps through the dense rainforest in a huge arc on its way to the Atlantic Ocean. Its waters are teeming with fish, hippopotamus, and even crocodiles. People use the Zaire as a watery highway, transporting supplies up and down the river. Zaire was once known as the Belgian Congo. During 3 centuries of slavery, the country lost hundreds of thousands of people. The country gained independence from Belgium in 1960, and 5 years later it adopted the name Zaire, a variation of the local word for river. The Mbuti people live as hunter-gatherers in the Ituri rainforest. They respect the forest and its gifts, and they do very little to harm it, never staying more than 6 weeks in any one spot. While they are expert hunters, the Mbuti have no fire-making skills. They carry hot coals from camp to camp, creating a lineage of fire that reaches back thousands of years. I suppose that makes each valuable coal an ember of the family. So long!
Buenas tardes. El vuelo 916 está llegando a Bolivia.
Hola! Let's see what's up in Bolivia. The Urus live on Lake Titicaca, literally. Using totora reeds, the Urus create floating islands on which to build their huts. As the bottom layers rot, the natives spread a new layer of reeds on top. For centuries, The native Urus have lived on and around Lake Titicaca. They use totora reeds to make their boats and to build their floating villages. These man-made islands can still be found on Lake Titicaca, as the Urus choose to live the old way instead of on land. I guess you could call it a real grassroots movement. Centuries ago, this mountainous South American country was ruled by the Inca. Later, the Spanish controlled its rich deposits of minerals. Its current name honors the freedom fighter Simón Bolívar. Bolivia is home to the world's highest lake, Titicaca, which means Rock of the Puma. Oddly enough, a view from space shows that the shape of the lake suggests a mountain lion pouncing on a rabbit. Weaving together bands of totora reeds, the Urus build canoe-like boats called balsas. Anthropologists, including yours truly, believe that the ancient Urus learned this technique from Mediterranean mariners who sailed across the Atlantic Ocean. So long!